There we go.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's Amanda Testa with Find Your Feminine Fire. And this is my weekly interview series. And I'm super excited because today I have the beautiful Ashley Rose Wolf of Fem Rising with us. And every week we just dive into great topics all around sex, love, and relationships. And today, Ashley is the creator of Fem Rising, and she's also an international women's yoga teacher and sensuality coach. And she really works with women to really revolutionize the relationship with their bodies so they can unlock their full feminine potential. And I actually was trying to remember how we met, and I think it was through maybe Kit and O actually. But I had the pleasure of meeting her a while back, and she led one of her Oyoga workshops for one of my coaching programs. And it was so lovely to work with her. So I'm very excited to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled. I love talking to women about these things, so I'm really excited.
Beautiful. And I'd love if you would share a little bit more about yourself and kind of what led you to this work.
Absolutely. So I didn't get into this work thinking that it would be a business or something that I would even be teaching other people. I got into this work as a level of healing of my own. And so what I like to share with women is like we each have different like entry points for healing and awakening and finding our feminine power. And so it could be like healing emotionally. It could be getting really fit in your body. For me, my entry point was my eating disorder. And that's what really led me to holistic nutrition. And that led me down the path of finding self-love and really working with and understanding my body. And then I created a really successful coaching business, helping other women do the same. And then I got to this point in my business where I wasn't inspired, and I was dating someone, and I was recognizing that I really never hit orgasms with a partner. And I kind of just had always thought like, oh, so many women don't orgasm. Like, it's just, it's just one of those things. It's, maybe I'll always be this way. And then really the more I started thinking about it, I was like, no, I can really see how connection with your sexuality and pleasure and the ability to feel these sensations is connected to your well-being and connected to your source of self-love and identity as a woman. And so it was a pretty huge light bulb that went off for me at that moment of like, okay, this is what has been missing in my body. This is what's been missing in my life. It's what's been missing in my relationships. And yes, it was the ability to orgasm, but it was much deeper than that, because it was on a deeper level. It was a level of connection with my body. And beyond that, it was a level of connection with my identity, with myself as a woman. And so I sort of was like, okay, this is big. And I realized the connection of that with my business also. And I was sort of like, okay, I see that like this is the underlying thing that pretty much all my clients still needed to heal. And then literally 2 days later, I found my teacher, Salma Zadora. I was reading through a magazine, and you know how they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I saw her, and I was like she like just jumped out of the page at me. And I teach about Shakti, which we'll talk about, but her Shakti was so strong that I was like, I saw it in her. I was like, I want what she has, and I need to work with her. And so that's what led me here. And I started working with Sam, and over the process of the past 3 years, I awakened my Shakti. I got my sensuality flowing, and I created Fem Rising as a result.
Such an awesome story.
And what I would love to say really quick before we go on,
yeah.
for women wondering, I was completely numbed out. I had zero sensation, because a lot of women are like, is this really possible for me? If I'm starting from zero, can I really have it all? And you can't. So that's really what I want to share is like, doing these practices literally changed my life. And that's why I believe in them so much.
Yeah. I think it's so powerful. And in my journey too, it's one of the things we don't really think about is how our connection with our own bodies really affects our relationship with everything else in our lives.
Yes.
And it's kind of one of these missing keys that we've never really been taught to pay much attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think from like your story as well, like usually something's really some kind of experience happens in your life that makes you search for a different alternative, another way of dealing with whatever is bothering you, or, you know, for you, it was your eating disorder. But, you know, the more we dive deeper, we actually kind of have to actively search out this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was my story. As like after my daughter was born, you know, I really had to search for something to help me feel more connected. And that's why I feel like you were just so inspired to teach other women about this, because it is life changing. And like Ashley said, there is so much hope for you because you can, it's like anything, you can work with it and bring it back to life. So, yay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love for you, one of the,
or you can bring it to life if
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah. And I really love, this is one of the things that we're going to move into, but you know, a lot of times I love how you mentioned earlier when you're talking about sensuality and kind of re-bringing that to the table. And I'd love for you to touch on that because I really enjoyed listening to you speak about that before, you know, the difference between sexuality and sensuality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of women, when they hear sensuality, not just women, actually, people in general, they immediately think that that means sexuality, that being sensual is inherently connected to being sexual, which can sort of create a stigmatization or a trigger for people and be like, oh, I don't want that, or it can polarize what it means to be sensual. So I really like to break down this difference so that people have a really clear understanding of what sensuality is and why it is so important, especially for us as women, to have in our bodies and our lives. So sensuality, when you boil down that definition, it just means being connected to your senses. So living a sensual life means being connected to your body in a way that your senses are alive. And for women, what this really means on a deeper level is living in connection with your womb space, however you want to identify with your sexual power source, because that gives rise to so much sensation in our body. And we'll get into that later when we talk about Shakti. But sensuality, what I like to say about the difference between sensuality and sexuality is that a healthy relationship with your sensuality, with your senses, with your body, with being in a body, with embodiment, is what paves the way for a healthy relationship with your sexuality. Because a lot of people, you know, myself included, when I started on this journey, I thought, I can't orgasm, and that's like purely a sexual thing. And it's not. It's actually inherently sensual. But our minds immediately go to the sexualized part of it. And so really dialing it down, and especially with any women who have experienced trauma, shame, abuse, anything really significant that is led to numbing out from our bodies, it's really important to emphasize that sensuality is inherently innocent. That there is nothing wrong or bad about being sensual, just like there's nothing wrong or bad about being sexual either. But oftentimes women who are coming into this work and just coming back home to their bodies really need permission to go there and to recognize that there is an inherent innocence that you're allowed to feel, and that you deserve to feel, and that you deserve to feel good. And so sensuality is, you know, you look at nature, you look at animals, you look at children, and they have sensuality so alive. Bursting, you know, nature is bursting with sensuality. Children are bursting with awareness of their senses. And so I really like to invite women to just take away any connotations of what you think sensuality is, to really allow it to be about your senses, about feeling good in your body, and about it being innocent.
I love that. And you know, one of the things that you mentioned earlier, like anything, this is something that you can learn to do. So really just taking that time to give attention to your senses.
And for many of us, it's really is something we have to learn or relearn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that is inherent within us. It really does need to be cultivated, because many of us are shut down and taught very specific things from the media, from society, from a very young age. So it literally is giving yourself permission to learn, to experience, to experiment.
Yeah. And that's so true, because I think a lot of us may have experienced trauma. I know I did, but also just you don't even realize the cultural conditioning that comes into play that you might not even be aware of, which leads us to have even shame we may not be aware of that can be holding us back with the connection to our own selves.
Yeah.
So I'd love to move into a little bit more about some things you can do to reawaken this within you, and talk a little bit more about Shakti and what that is.
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing that I like to sort of like lay the table with before we move deeper into these conversations is the way I like to explain Shakti is like you have a power source within you, and it's either turned on or off. Mm-hmm. This is your sensuality, this is your sexuality, and this is your feminine sexual energy. And before I even explain any of this, I'd like to just ask where your awareness is. Do you know if you're turned on or off? Because most women will have an immediate answer there. And my invitation is to really just allow that to be a piece of awareness. There is no judgment if you're turned on or you're turned off. There's no judgment for anything in the past that you've thought about being turned on or off. You're just bringing your awareness to your physical body. Is my Shakti on or off? Am I alive in my sensuality, my sexuality, or am I numbed out? So allowing yourself to register that level of awareness, and so that you can take that as we move forward in this conversation. And also, you know, a primary key, like a key piece of what I teach is no judgment. Yeah. So as we continue on with this conversation, I really invite it to be a judgment-free zone, and not letting there be any comparison, like really just allowing it to be a level of awareness that continues to arise for you throughout our conversation.
Yeah, beautiful.
And so I'm going to start with Shakti. So what is Shakti? Shakti is literally a power source that lives in your body. And so when I say divine feminine energy, or I say sexual energy, a lot of people think that's woo-woo. And what I love about Shakti is that it is very physiological in the body. So the ancient tantras, these ancient wise books from India, say that Shakti is she lives on the posterior side of the cervix in a kunda. That's what kundalini means, and kunda means bowl. And so you have the ancient tantrics use the word bulb, but it's really a gland. So you have a gland on the posterior side of your cervix, which is a bundle of nerves. And those of you who may be familiar with Kundalini, with energetic awakening, you know, they use the element of the spine as a central channel. And then there's two snakes that climb up that represent the masculine and the feminine that meet in the crown. And so in the tantras, the masculine lives up here and the feminine lives down here in our womb space, which is beautiful for us as women because we have a direct connection to that in our physical bodies. And so this bundle of nerves, they say, is coiled around 3.5 times, like a sleeping snake. And so the practices of Oyoga that I teach help to facilitate waking up that snake. So it's like the snake is sleeping inside of you, and we are going to poke it. We're going to poke this snake to get it out of its hole, to wake it up so that it can arise within our bodies. And what this does is it stimulates our nervous system. So when women start to live with an awakened sense of Shakti in their bodies, their metabolism changes, their skin literally glows, and this can happen immediately. You know, eyes get brighter, literally they become more white. The skin color can go from being sort of like drab and gray to like luminous and dewy. And and it can help like cascade of physiological things in your bodies, everything from your hormones to your neurotransmitters, because it's affecting so powerfully this part of your body where so many of our hormones are produced. Mm-hmm. And so Shakti is this primordial life force energy living in our bodies. You know, the tantras have a few rules. So Shakti is a term that comes from the lineage of Tantra. And I'm not going to go into the whole definition of that because that could take a whole nother call. But I do want to say that there are 4 rules of Tantra that are really helpful for us to grasp when we're talking about Shakti, to give ourselves permission to go there, to feel it, and to experience it. And so these 4 rules are, first of all, everyone is perfect. That means you are perfect. That means there is nothing wrong with you. It doesn't matter if you're turned on or you're turned off. It means there's no sin. There's nothing bad about what has happened to you. That really everything that's led you to this moment is perfect. And that can be sort of triggering for some people because some of the things that have led us to this moment can be really challenging. But I invite you to step back and see the bigger picture of everything that has led you to this moment for your highest good. That's basically what everyone is perfect means. The second rule is there's a sleeping energy inside of you. This is Shakti. This is your Kundalini. And so the third rule is there are knots that keep this energy asleep that must be unlocked. So these knots are what shut down Shakti, and they're physical, and they're emotional, and they're psychological. And through doing this work, through moving our bodies, through breathing in a certain way, through beginning to reprogram our relationship with our bodies, we unlock these knots. And this is what we do when we are awakening our Shakti. And the fourth rule is that heaven is here on earth. This is my favorite rule because, and this is not religious at all. This is really in addition to whatever you believe the divine to be. I'm not sharing this from any dogmatic perspective, but if heaven is here on earth, then it's not something we're waiting for. And the way that we reach it, what I love about Tantra is it says the way that we reach the divine is through the portal of the body. So heaven is here on earth and it lives within you. And the more that we cultivate a relationship with our femininity, the more we find our feminine fire, the more we awaken our Shakti, we feel that to be true. And there's so much pain and suffering because us as women, so many of us have been disconnected from our bodies, disconnected from the source of divinity that really just lives within us, whatever you believe in. This body is a miracle. So that's the quick rundown on Shakti. If you want to know exactly what Oyoga stems from and in alignment with Tantra, it comes from a really ancient lineage of Tantra called Shaktiism, which is, it comes from what's called Sri Vidya, which is a specific branch of Tantra, which means knowledge of the goddess. So it's said that this is actually one of the oldest forms of Tantra. Tantra is already at least 5,000 years old. And it's thought that this is one of the oldest, most ancient branches that everything else is derived from, that is really in devotion to the divine feminine. And so all of these practices serve to awaken this within us, whether we're men or women. But as women, it really gives us something tangible to work with in our bodies.
Yeah. And I love how you mentioned earlier, too, how a lot of people sometimes when we talk about these kind of practices can think it's woo-woo. But actually, it's really backed in science. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's so incredible to learn. The more, this ancient wisdom is being proven by modern science. Mm-hmm. So it's just fascinating to me.
I know, I love it. And getting geeky for a second on the science and women and sensation is, there's been a lot of studies done on the female brain with orgasm. And women will say, I'm not having an orgasm because they can't feel it physically in their bodies, while their brain is actually registering the receptor sites going off in the brain is registering an orgasm. And so it's really interesting, this connection and level of disconnection we can have. And yes, I love that science is validating this, because the ancient tantrics knew this thousands and thousands of years ago, which is really where the power of these practices come from.
Yeah. So powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how the Oyoga brings it in. And I love you mentioned too, it's because it's really based on how the experience is in a woman's body, like, and certain things you can do in your own body to reawaken or awaken that Shakti and get it flowing. And also just because we just have to kind of rewire our brains, and we can create new neuronal pathways. So it's just a beautiful thing. Like anything, you have to practice it. And like working out, like anything you do, if you want to get more of it, then you have to kind of put focus and energy there.
Totally. And the body, so the example I'm going to use is the vaginal canal. If we're talking about sensation and ability to feel pleasure, or even let's bring it to the clitoris, because so many women are super numbed out because all they use are vibrators.
Yeah.
So either you're numbed out vaginally, or you're numbed out anywhere on the outer part of the vulva. And what that requires is resensitizing.
Yeah.
So just like, working out, I'm really proud of my muscles. If you can't tell, I've been doing 90-day workout challenge with my best friend. So
Nice.
like really true for me in my body, because I'm hitting a new level of evolution with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the vaginal canal, it's a muscle. You have to build that. If you've lost that strength and sensation, that's what these practices are about, to resensitize and to bring some strength and toning to your vaginal canal and your pelvic floor, so that you can bring more blood flow to that area, so that you can experience more sensation.
Yeah.
And just like, clitoral numbing out, what that requires, because that was me, that was the only kind of orgasm I could have. I had to put the vibrator away, and I had to go back to just using my finger or a glass wand and keeping it really simple, so that my body could relearn how to feel. Yeah. So that it wasn't overstimulated. Because there's, the body will respond and create like a threshold that it then expects. Mm-hmm. So recognizing that sometimes the reasons we're numbed out are because of the things that we have chosen to do to experience sensation and pleasure. Same thing for men and porn.
Yeah, totally.
And that vigorous, they just have to have that vigorous stimulation to orgasm. Yeah. Same thing for them. It comes back to slowing it down and resensitizing, so that they can experience that buildup. And so that's what I love about Oyoga, is that it allows you to resensitize while you're reprogramming your relationship with your body. You're learning how to feel safe. You're learning how to feel sensual, which leads to confidence, which leads to giving yourself more permission to go there. And then over time, you'll experience more sensation and pleasure within your sexuality.
And I just want to say hello. I can't tell who's watching, but I just want to welcome you and give us a hello. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop those on, and we will answer them the best we can. If we can't get to them now, we will answer them afterwards. So please ask away. And yeah, I totally are with you there. And I know that's such a lively debate. I thought about doing a show just on that, because there's people that are so like, I could never give up my vibrator, but one of the things that you point on, which is so true, it's like your body gets accustomed to that, and there's no way like natural sex can provide that same kind of stimulation. So you do have to just kind of reset your body in a way, kind of like if you were to maybe go on a cleanse and you're just taking certain foods out of your diet, the same kind of thing. Yeah.
And giving it time, like it takes time. And the thing that I would love to share is that I actually really prefer not using a vibrator now.
Yeah.
Now it's almost too much. Every once in a while, it'll feel really good, but I really prefer the slow and steady buildup. And something my teacher Sam used to say is, I dare you not to come. She would say, how can you build up that pleasure to the point of like almost orgasming and then continue to experience pleasure without the orgasm, to just ride that wave? And I find when I do that is actually feels so much better to me than the actual orgasm itself. That sustained pleasure feels so good in my body that in a way I would rather just keep doing that than get to the end game.
Right.
And so that's what I would love to invite in for so many women is, how can you continue to build pleasure within your body without the expectation of having an orgasm?
Yeah.
Personally or with a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Because so much it's like, oh, I'm going to come and you're going to come. Let's just get each other off, when really you could experience so much more.
Yeah. And letting go of that end goal.
Yeah.
And I think that comes back to what you were saying earlier too, is, one of the best ways to do that is getting more into your body, focusing on your sensations, and, kind of retraining yourself in that way,
Yeah.
which is some of the things that you're teaching.
Yeah. And before we get into any of the Oyoga stuff, what I want to say is that you can use this to enhance your sex life.
Yeah.
You can use this to enhance your sexual confidence. You can use this to help you get in the mood. If you have low libido, lack of libido, these are practices that you can really use in real time. You can do these throughout the day, or if you're going to be having sexy time, you can set aside a few minutes before, or even do it with your partner. Yeah. And some of these are great to do while you're having sex. So allowing that to come in as well is like, yoga can be a really personal, nourishing practice that you do with yourself as self-care. It can also be just to feel really freaking good in your body, to cultivate self-confidence, but also it can really help your sex life.
Yeah. And I love how you mentioned that, because I talk about this sometimes, like with a transition ritual, because it's sometimes hard for women. We have so many things on our plate, going from like life to being intimate. You've got to give yourself that transition. And so finding tools that work for you to really kind of put yourself in that mood, or to get your body and mind, kind of turned on and present in your body.
I love that. I love the element of transition. And along with that, because we do have so much on our plates, I think it's really important to mention that it doesn't have to feel like an obligation. It's not another thing to put on your to-do list. And what I love about some of these practices I'm going to share with you is, like, you can do them anytime, anywhere. Like, my favorite thing to do is hip circles, which I'm going to teach you. And I do that in the morning when I'm getting ready. I put on my favorite music, and half the time my body just starts doing it. Like, I'm not even, like, my body just starts doing it because it really likes it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this feels really good. But that you can really just build it in, that these self-care practices, these elements of transition, or creating self-care, it doesn't have to be scheduled in. It can happen anytime.
Yeah. And I think that is such a good key. Is they're simple, and you can make it work whenever you can, or when you feel the need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd love if you would be open to sharing some Oyoga with us.
I would love to.
Are you down?
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, so that I know while I'm teaching, how much time do we have left?
We're flexible.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So let's see. To begin with, we're going to start seated, and then I'm going to stand up. And if you are in a place that you can stand, I invite you to do so. But to begin with, we're just going to sit down, find a comfortable seat, cross-legged, or putting your feet on the earth, just so that you're totally comfortable. And Again, before we get started, I want to mention this is a judgment-free zone. That is the primary tenet of Oyoga, no judgment. And so as we get into this, inviting you to come back to your breath. Because if you're connected to your breath, you can't actually be in your head because then you're in your body. So inviting you to close your eyes. We're going to tune in really quick to just do a quick body scan. Direct your breath down into our bellies. So I invite you to inhale through the nose, drag that air down the back of your throat, and allow it to descend all the way down into your womb space. And then exhale, allowing that to come back up and out the nose. Again, inhale deeply through the nose, allowing it to descend, feeling that air drag down the back of your throat. And allowing your belly to get big as it descends down into your womb space. And then exhaling, letting it go fully up and out. One more time, inhaling deeply through the nose. Allowing that breath to descend all the way down into the belly, allowing the belly to be big and loose. And then exhaling, letting that go. So this is the breath that I invite you to stay connected to as we get into some of these practices. I call this bliss breath, and it's like ujjayi, if you're familiar with yoga. You're inhaling and you're dragging that air down the back of your throat, and this helps build heat in the body. And so we want to be breathing in and out the nose and dragging that air down the back of the throat. And from here, I invite you to just create a quick intention for what you want to experience in this quick movement practice. Maybe this is an intention that you've been working on for a while. Maybe it's something that's just coming up for you now. Staying connected to your breath, breathing deeply. In Sanskrit, your intention is called your sankalpa. And the sankalpa is like a sacred seed. And so it's something that we tend to. So we're tending to this intention during this practice. Maybe your intention is to feel more confident, to feel present, to just stay connected to your breath. And what I love about the element of a sankalpa is that we create it from the place of I am or I have. So I am present. I have all the love I need, whatever it may be for you. And from here, I'm going to share a few things about Oyoga. And I'm going to stand up and start moving. I invite you to do the same as we start to get into it. I'm going to share some of the primary movements with you that are easy for you to practice in your own daily experience. So staying connected to the breath. I'm actually going to move my camera so you can see my body a little bit better. Give me just a second. Okay, can you still hear me okay? Okay, so you're gonna bring the legs out, the feet to like a 45-degree angle and a bend in the knees. And you're just gonna have a little bit of a sway here. See what this feels like as you breathe. Again, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. And then from here, you're going to bring small circles into your hips as you inhale forward and exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale, release back. And allowing yourself to find what feels comfortable in your body. So we're inhaling forward, slight activation of the obliques and the abs, and exhale, release, fully let it go. I'm going to go to the side so you can see me. Inhale forward, exhale back. Closing the eyes if you feel like it, and allowing yourself to feel what it feels like to be in your hips. Is it sticky? Is it juicy? Is it awkward? Does it feel good? And your next inhale, I invite you to switch directions. Staying connected, allowing the breath and movement to be one. So inhale forward, exhale back. This is also something that can be done sitting down. And then just coming to neutral position, keeping the eyes closed, staying connected to your breath, seeing what you feel here. Doing a body scan, seeing what you feel in the physical body, seeing how it feels in your hips, in your belly. Doing an emotional scan, is anything coming up for you in your emotional body or psychologically? And then doing an energy body scan. Are you feeling any heat, tingling, sensation? Are you feeling a little juiciness down in your womb space? Whatever it may be. And then from here, we're going to work with a 3-part breath. And so it's like your vaginal canal has 3 levels. We have the first level, which is the outer opening. The second level, which is in between that opening and your cervix. And the third level, which is your cervix and your reproductive region. So staying connected with your breath, and I invite you to inhale, bring a pulse to that first level. And then exhale, release. Inhale, pulse. See what you feel. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, pulse. Exhale, release. Again, only awareness here. Maybe you feel something, maybe you don't. I didn't feel anything when I started to do this. So inhale, pulse. Exhale, release. This is not a clenching. This is not a Kegel. This is not, you're not forcing it. You're seeing what level of sensation is available to you here. And it's like a jellyfish. This is sort of the pulsation we're going for here. So inhale, pull that up to the second level. See what you feel. And then exhale, release. Inhale, pulse. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, pulse, pull it up and in. Exhale, release, down and out. So you're going to inhale, pull it up to that second level. When you release down and out, it's a gentle bearing down, almost as if you were to pee. So you're going to inhale, pull up and in. Exhale, release. This fully releases the muscles and the nerves because we don't want to hold tension. We don't want to create more tension. So bringing that level of awareness to the second level, what do you feel here? And then we're going to inhale, pull it all the way up and in, seeing if you can feel it reach that cervical column. And then exhale, release, let it go. If you're standing, something that might feel good to you is to inhale, pull up and in, and then exhale when you release. Actually allow your hips to release back. So inhale, pull up and in, exhale, release down and out. Inhale, activating, exhale, releasing. Inhale, pulling up and in, exhale, releasing down and out. And so registering, again, that level of awareness. How much were you able to feel? And so based on how much you were able to feel, we're going to incorporate that with another Oyoga movement. So we started with the hip circles. And then we went to the pussy pulse. That's the inhale, pull up and in, exhale, release down and out. And now we're going to incorporate that with some thrusts. So what we're doing here is we're stimulating that Shakti. We're poking that bundle of nerves that lives on our cervix, but we're also activating our hormones. So when we're doing the hip circles, we're activating serotonin and dopamine in the gut. And right now, when we go into the thrust, we're working with cortisol and testosterone. Most of us have way too much cortisol and not enough testosterone, which is what strengthening the glutes and your hamstrings is great for. Most of us have no connection to the back body. So I'm just going to teach you a thrust, but if you want to do squats, whatever it is, that is awesome too. So we're going to inhale and thrust forward and activate the abs. You are going to squeeze your butt. And then you're going to exhale, release. And you're going to allow this to be natural. This isn't like you have to look a certain way. You got to have, like, this isn't, like yoga with like, you've got to be bent to this degree. This is what feels good in your body. And you can build over time. So inhale, activate, squeeze your ass, exhale, release. Inhale, activate, exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze, Exhale, let it go. Feel this gentle rocking motion in your hips as you sync up with your breath on the inhale in, the exhale out. Inhale, activate, exhale, release. And I'm sure you can see here how this, if you were to be on your knees, could be really great for sex. Especially if you feel challenged being on top, this is a really great one for you to practice in your daily movement. Inhale, activate, exhale, release. And now I invite you to incorporate that pussy pulse. So you're going to inhale, activate, squeeze that out, pull that pulse up and in. Exhale, release everything down now. Inhale, pull that pulse up and in as you squeeze your booty. Exhale, release down and out. Inhale, see how far up you can pull that pulse. Exhale, release, let it go. Inhale, activate all the way up. Exhale, release. And now I invite you to have that sensation of activating all the way up as we bring our hands all the way up and over on the inhale. And then exhale, release down and around. And again, you're going to inhale, thrust, activate, pull that pulse up and in. Exhale, release down and out. Inhale, activate, pull it up and in. Exhale, release down and out. Allowing yourself to really feel this in the body. So as you inhale in, you pull the arms all the way up and over. Feel stretch along the side body here. Exhale, release down and out as the hips release down and back and then go sideways. So you can see me here. Inhale, activate all the way up. Exhale, release down and out. So this is called the microcosmic orbit. This is your sexual energy. We are pulling your sexual energy up the center line of the body, and it is cascading down and around, and then we are pulling it back up. So this is creating a closed loop system of energy in your body. And this is a real thing. You can Google it. This shape in physics is called a torus. And so we are activating this, pulling up and in. It's cascading down and around. And then we're going to bring it back up. And now your invitation is to bring some sensual caress as we drag that energy back up the body. So bringing the fingertips to the body as you inhale all the way up. Exhaling down and around. Allowing the fingertips to travel up as you pull and tease that energy up the center line. And then exhaling down and around. Inhale, pulling that up. Exhaling down. If you lack sensation, you can actually bring your fingertips to whatever part of your body that you want to stimulate. So maybe you bring it a little bit to the vaginal opening, maybe you bring it a little bit to the clit as you pull that up. And then exhale down. So again, closing the eyes, tuning in, seeing what you feel here. Maybe you want to put your hands on your body, maybe you want to bring them down to your room, just sitting and seeing what you feel in your physical body, what's coming up for you in the emotional body, and what may be arising on the energy body. Sensation, heat, emotion, these are all ways that the body communicates with us. Any areas of tension or discomfort, bring your awareness there, saying, I feel you. And what I would love to do really quick is just put all of those movements together in a flow so that you can really see what it's like. So we're going to start with the hip circle. So we're inhaling forward, exhaling back, and the breath will increase. It'll go a little bit faster now. So it's and if you do this for about 10 minutes, you will get sweaty, you will get hot. It will feel like a bit of a workout. So we're inhaling forward, exhaling back. You're going to also feel your abs slightly activating. This is a great way to get a little bit of ab work in. Seeing how this feels. What is the rhythm like for you in your body? For a lot of women, it can be really uncomfortable. It can be really challenging. That's okay. The important thing is to practice. On your next inhale, I invite you to switch directions. Inhale forward, exhale back. So like I'm hot. And my abs are like on fire already. So inhale forward, exhale back, allowing you yourself to have that bend in the knees, allowing it to feel fluid. And then from here, we're going to bring in the pulse. So we're going to inhale, pulse up and in, exhale, release down and out as we thrust. Inhale, pulse, exhale, release. Inhale, activate, exhale, let it go. Allow your arms to do whatever they want. I do this because I feel like it helps you guys remember, but you can do whatever you want. You know, you can keep your hands on your body. You can allow them to be free, to move around, whatever you want. So inhale, pulse. Exhale, release. This can be challenging if you're not feeling any vaginal sensation. That's okay. The important thing, focus on activating that ass as you pulse up and in. Exhale, release down and out. Inhale, activate. Exhale, release. And you'll feel it in your abs. You want to feel it right here at the attachment of the glutes and the hamstrings when you squeeze your booty up and in. Then exhale, release down and out. Again, no clenching, please. We're not creating more tension. We don't want any back pain. This should not hurt in any way. I forgot to say before I started, if you have any pelvic pain or vulvodynia, please use this at your own pace. And so incorporating this now with the microcosmic orbit, we're going to inhale, thrust the booty as we pull that energy up our bodies. Exhale, releasing down and out. Eyes closed, pulling up and in. Exhale, release down and out. Inhale, pull up and in. Exhale, release down and out. Inhale, activate. Exhale, release. Inhale, pull it up. Exhale, let it go. And then allowing the breath and the body to come back to a neutral position, keeping the eyes closed, breathing deeply, seeing what you feel here. And then allowing the fingertips to travel the body. Allowing yourself to experience a sensual caress here with a feather-light touch. And so the lighter the touch, the stronger the sensation. And so allowing yourself to distribute that energy we just built and generated in the body, and allow yourself to move it wherever it wants to go. Allow your fingertips to travel wherever it feels good. I love to suggest touching the parts of your body that you touch the least or that you like the least. So maybe you bring your fingertips to your belly. Maybe you bring your fingertips to your breasts, your neck, your hair. Allowing yourself to just feel without judgment what feels good, to touch yourself. My teacher Sam would always say you have to be your own lover first. You have to know what feels good to you first. So this is a great practice for you to do if you have any self-consciousness with a partner, if you don't know what you like, to just allow yourself to touch yourself and to remember the innocence of this. This is simply connecting with your body in this moment. And so again, inhaling deeply through the nose. This time exhale through the mouth. Let it go. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then bring a bounce into the hips. Inhale through the nose, out the mouth. Just bounce. Maybe the body wants to sway, move, whatever it is. We're just releasing here. If there was any tension, if there was anything, we're just bouncing it out. So feeling your feet on the earth, shaking it out, allowing yourself to be fluid and free in your body. Taking one big deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then if your eyes are still closed, returning to us back here in this space. Hands to your body, bringing some gratitude to yourself for being willing to go there. Thank you so much for joining me. And that's a quick taste of what Oyoga is. I wanted to break down some key movements for you, which were the hip circles, the hip tilts or thrusting, and the bliss breath. working with the microcosmic orbit, and sensual caress. And so, like I said, these are really simple things that you can do every day. Like I said, I do my hip circles when I'm getting ready in the morning. I'm putting my makeup on, I put on my favorite music, and I just go for it. And like, if you have a movement practice, if you like to dance daily or you do yoga, incorporate this freely and just see how your body wants to move. Your body may love thrusts. Your body may love pulling the energy up. Whatever feels really good to you is an indication that that's kind of what your body needs. So like my body always needs core strength. And so I think that that's part of why I love the hip circles, because not only does it feel good, not only does it get things flowing, but it really does help activate your abs.
I love that demo. Thank you so much for that. And this is beautiful because you guys can watch back at any time and really use the practices that speak to you the most, or do the whole flow series. And it's such a great way to really get into your body. And I love how you say, just let your body do what it wants. And I do want to point out too, because I think this is something that you mentioned, just having that judgment free and just accepting yourself where you are and loving where you are at this moment, and knowing that it is a journey, and like everything, it takes time. And so I think even you mentioned when you first started doing hip circles, your body was not open to it at all. So it takes a while to like really, get there sometimes.
Yeah, and no comparison, especially
totally.
comparing yourself to me, comparing yourself to another woman. It was really awkward in my body when I started doing this. I used to be so shut down and self-conscious. Like I wouldn't even get to dance at like a family wedding. Like I literally wouldn't move. And so this is really what's allowed me to find freedom in my own body. I never thought that I would move like this. I really didn't. And it's really given me permission to find what feels good to me, to find how my body wants to move, to find what my sensual expression is. And you can't find that if you're comparing it to anyone else.
Mm-hmm. So true. So if any of you ladies are in Denver this weekend, you're in luck, because Ashley has a live workshop coming up this weekend. And I'd love if you would just talk a little bit about that, if you would, just explain what you have going on.
Thank you. So this weekend is 2 full days of sensuality, tantra, and Oyoga. So we are going to be doing Oyoga throughout both days so that you will leave with an embodied practice to take home with you. We're going to be going over Shakti and Tantra in depth. We're going to be talking about your hormones and body mapping and working with the chakras, using your body as a map. Your body is a roadmap, and we're going to help you understand your unique body and what she needs and what she's been through and what she's ready for. And so we're going to do that. We are going to have sisterhood and ceremony. We're going to have a really beautiful ceremony Saturday night. And the point of this workshop is really to heal what's holding you back. So these are the things that I use in my one-on-one coaching practice that I know work, and I know work really well. And the really exciting thing about this weekend is that you are getting everything like laser beamed. So if you are seriously ready to heal what's holding you back, you are getting a comprehensive experience to basically leave the weekend a new woman, the woman you're ready. And these are my favorite things to teach, and we've got a few spots left for the workshop. We would love to have you there. If you want to learn more or sign up, can we just put the link below this?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes, and then do they go to your website, or where can they find the info?
It's on my website. So my website is femrising.com, and we'll just put all the links below this so that it's easier. Perfect. Thank you, Amanda. And feel free to reach out to me. Send me a direct message, personal message, if you have any questions about the schedule, the location. The schedule and location are shared after you sign up because it is held at a private residence, a beautiful private residence for my ad. But I'm happy to answer any of those questions regarding logistics if you have them. And one more thing I want to say about the workshop is that if you are kind of craving sisterhood, we're going to really create some strong connections here this weekend. So if this is something that you are hungry for, that you feel like you're lacking a little bit in your life, this is going to be a beautiful opportunity for that as well.
Yay. Ladies, you have to go to work with her. It's so fun. You'll love it. I promise. You will leave a different woman.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'll put all the links for everything below. And thank you all so much for being here. And thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing with us such wisdom and giving us that beautiful practice that we can take home with us.
Yes.
And
I love sharing this, and it's really my intention that whatever I shared with you is going to meet you where you're at. Because I know I shared a lot. So even if you just get one nugget, like know that you'll get what you're supposed to get.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And ladies, if you enjoyed this, please share with your friends. If you think anyone else could benefit from this, please do share, because I love this. And I love, this is one of Ashley's slogans on her, in her business, which is so true, but that, you know, when one woman rises, we all rise. Mm-hmm. So let's support each other and share this. And thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Have a beautiful day, everyone.